Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. Hello everybody, welcome to our Wednesday Leading Change episode this week with Catherine Kraus. Hey Catherine, welcome back.
Hi there.
So on Wednesdays, we dive into change and the whole change process, of course, from our perspective as Scrum Masters, as we observe it, but also as being part of it, right? Actors of change in the organizations where we are. So, Catherine, walk us through one of those that you were involved with and pay special attention as you tell us the story to those tools, the steps you use, the tricks, the techniques you learned back then that you still apply today.
Sure. So this is a story. So I had the task to establish the first offshore and onshore hybrid team in our area. And to do this, really, it wasn't an easy task because I had to kind of simultaneously dissolve an existing team and combine an old team members with new offshore team members. And at the same time, we had to onboard a brand new PO and these new team offshore members with no knowledge of Scrum or Agile. So yeah, for me, new PO, new offshore members, new topics. I was used to taking on these changes, but usually one at a time. So this was really a unique situation. So I kind of thought about it, and my intention from the beginning was really, how do we set these things up right from the start? So I thought about it, and I decided that we really need to focus on the onboarding process. So the first step I did was to get support from my organization, from my manager, from others who could help me. So I knew I couldn't do this on my own. So I set up this little kind of core support committee. It was about 4 people, but it was my manager, another senior developer, and the new PO and myself. We met every week to talk about logistics and how to create this comprehensive onboarding checklist, to really make sure that this onboarding process went well and was a good experience for both the new team, but also the former team members. And we did have some snags at the start. So there were laptops getting lost. That was actually our number one impediment, the supply chain issues. But we did tackle these problems one by one, and we gave ourselves realistic time to get them done rather than rushing, right? Secondly, we did a series of kickoff sessions, and this was really great too because the new members were able to get technically onboarded, learn more about the business processes. They even had a welcome presentation from key leaders. We really wanted to get everyone on the same page and answer any open questions they had. And even though we knew that they were, technical experts, we knew that they wouldn't have an understanding of our company culture and our team's working environment. So that was really important as well. And then finally, in the first weeks when we were kind of up and running, we did a team canvas exercise with everyone. So, everyone together, the brand new team formed. And I like to do this exercise when a team is forming. I use it to kind of co-create our team culture and our way of working. And so this is basically how it works. You put up a big board, it can be virtual, of course, with different areas, and you label kind of like team goals, purpose, team roles and skills, team values, team norms and behaviors, all in one board. And then you go, and this is the important part, it's a structured conversation with the team to gather ideas and talk about the different areas of the board. And it's a really good way to bring team members together and align kind of on the big picture and why we're here. And also how we want to be with each other, how we want to work. The team canvas can then serve as kind of a visual reminder to the team of this, way of working and vision. And I keep it hanging up on my virtual board, right? We're still kind of obviously an offshore team, onshore team, you need to work virtually. So it's on a virtual board. So that's what we did. Those are the steps we did for the onboarding process.
Well, as you went through that process, like onboarding is kind of a, how do you say, it's a word that can mean many things, right? And as I was listening to you, the first question that came to my mind was like, in this smaller group, did you guys define what success was like for that team? Like even before the whole team was involved, like was there kind of a success definition that the team would have to then, of course, comment on and understand? But was that done?
Yeah, so our PO in particular, so he had a very clear definition of success for the team, and so that was helpful. But also the management contributed to that vision, and so everyone luckily was onboarded with, or let's say, contributed to the fact of, why is this team here? Why do we need this team? So that was really strong from the very beginning. Yeah. And we weren't quite sure, how they would perform over, the next couple sprints. So obviously we gave them a lot of time in the beginning to just get adjusted, and we set the bar a little bit lower. I mean, and I think that's a good thing, right? So we didn't hurry them into performing, and I think that's the key, because our priority at the beginning was building trust and building this really good way of working together, and so they profited from that, and they really became one of the most higher performing team over time. And I think it's really due to this kind of starting off right.
And I also get reminded when you tell that aspect of focusing on, giving them space and time for them to learn how to work as a team. I get reminded of the original way Scrum was presented to me, which is that there's two deliverables, right? The product that we're delivering to the customer, but also a team and a set of processes, so the team and processes that can sustainably deliver that product for a long time to come, right? Like that second deliverable is one of those where I think we as Scrum Masters should, really focus on. And as you rightly said, when we're getting started, we may need to give the teams a few easy balls for them to start, figuring out, okay, so how do we play together? How do we, convey information? How do we make decisions? Who knows what parts of the technologies are fixed? Which ones can we, play with and even change? Like all of those things are questions that are not necessarily going to be asked immediately, right? Because they are contextual, so they need the context before they raise. But if we immediately start pushing the team to perform, we forget about that second deliverable of Scrum, which is the team and its environment, the processes, the tools, and so on, that can sustainably deliver the product for a long time to come.
That's right. I mean, there's so many levels when you have a team working together. They can be super competent and technically excellent, but if they're not able to communicate and interact well with each other, and also kind of be aware of the greater system where they're working, they're not going to be set up for success. So I think it's really important to kind of look at all those things and give them manageable things to do in the beginning, so they can slowly kind of build up their success and also confidence in themselves, right? So they're building that confidence in how they're working, they're building that trust with each other, how they work together. So I think that's really important to set that up, slowly and from the beginning, and that's what worked for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great set of steps for us to look into as Scrum Masters when we spin up another team or help another team kind of get started with new team members, because this is happening also kind of in a dynamic fashion. So it doesn't just happen when the team starts, right? Like maybe some team members have changed, whatever. Maybe the PO has changed, right? Like and then we need to have a little bit of a team forming set of steps, like reviewing the vision. Maybe getting reminded of what the success definition is, and discussing some team agreements and so on.
Yeah, we're revisiting the team canvas every I don't know, I wouldn't say every couple of sprints, that's too short, but for sure, let's say after 10 or 12 sprints or so, we're looking at that team canvas again and seeing, are we still on track? Do we need to change anything? So I think that's important too, to revisit that.
Absolutely. Great story. Thank you for sharing, Catherine.
Thank you.
Leading change is one of the core skills we must acquire, but it is only one of the steps towards our success as Scrum Masters. Tomorrow, on Success Thursday, we will talk about how to define success for the Scrum Master role. We'll cover tips on how to measure your way to that position, and most importantly, how to develop that focus on continuous improvement that is as important for Scrum Masters as it is for teams. See you tomorrow. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.